Resume. All righty, some uninterrupted time. So this week in my class, I was inspired by social media, God help me. I made the mistake of making a comment on someone's political post. Now, I never, ever do this. And I think it's funny because so many people, before they make a comment, like, I never post, but I honestly and truly never get political. You will find yoga pictures, you will find my dogs, you will find my kids. That's it on my social media. And the comment that I made was basically, you know, we've been hearing a lot about unity and unifying, coming together and all of this. And my point was, if this is where we're headed and this is the goal, why are so many people on both sides continuing to, you know, mudsling and insult and call names and be combative, you know, if we're all trying to unify and come together? That was it. I was like Switzerland. I was like the yogi. There was no malice, no underlying statement, no passive aggressive anything. And I thought, you know, it was innocent. And then the comments just poured on in with regard to what I said. And I was kind of called names and a lot of assumptions were made. And I'm on this side and I'm pulling for that. And how dare you say this? And it really took on a life of its own. So the first like 3 comments, I defended myself just to make it a little bit more clear. I thought maybe it wasn't, you know, maybe I wasn't getting myself across properly. And then I realized that, you know, people will hear things to respond or they'll hear to actually listen. And these people were hearing whatever it is that they wanted to hear, in this case, reading it. And they already had this preconceived notion. They had all of this jumbled up in their brain that they really wanted to get across, regardless of what I said. And really, it made me think of the Vishuda Chakra, the throat chakra, which encompasses the entire head. And on our head, we have these 2 things here. Now, the ratio is 2 to 1, but yet we use this a lot more than we use these. So in order for us to actually unify, we have to listen, but we have to hear, and we have to have a clear mind and a clear head and an open heart to let whatever the person is saying or writing or whatever the message is come from them, authentically from their mouth, from their brain, from their, you know, gut, and we take it in. Whether or not we agree or not, you know, that has nothing to do with it, but we really have to listen to someone else. And it's not like telephone tag where the message starts to change with each person, that it goes on and on and on. We just have to kind of accept what they say and, you know, and then take it from there. So we'll be working with the throat chakra to open that up and also to really start to listen to things. So a lot of times we come to the mat and we tune out. We don't want any distraction and we're turning our attention inward. I want you to open up your ears and listen to whatever the sounds are. Ella, if you are just, you know, you hear your kids, you hear the dog scratching at the door, whatever it is, I want you to acknowledge that and hear it, but yet you can keep with your practice. You can continue to stay focused. So with all of this going on around us, we can still stay centered. We can hear whatever it is. We can invite in whatever it is, but it doesn't overtake us. It doesn't shake us. So that our original message is always going to stay true and always going to stay honest, but yet we're open enough to have that dialogue. It's a constant flow, okay? Just like our practice. Just close your eyes. And dip your chin down to the center of your chest. And already start to feel that closing sensation of your throat. So bring your chin a little closer to your chest. Maybe you feel a stretch along the back of the neck. And then swallow. See what that feels like. That restriction, that lock. Start to tilt your head to the right side, drop your right ear to your right shoulder, and then lift your chin away from your chest. Now open your mouth, take a nice big breath in, and a big breath out. And then dip your chin back down to the center of your chest. Take breath in. Swallow again. And then tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder. Lift your chin away from your chest so you feel a nice stretch along the right side of the neck. But open up, throat, feel that space, maybe feel a little breeze in there. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. And we'll come back through center, drop your chin to the center of your chest. Let's bring the shoulders forward, roll all the way up. Feel the lobes of the ears into your shoulders. And then draw the shoulder blades back towards each other, lengthen the neck, puff your chest up, and drop your shoulders down your back. Now float the arms up overhead, join your hands together in a prayer. Bring your prayer to your heart. Nice. And settle your thumbs right up against your sternum. You can lift yourself a little taller. And then just sit for a moment. Whatever sounds you hear around you, really tune in. Maybe you hear the rain on the windowsills. Maybe you hear the people that are in your house. Maybe you hear your own breath. Fine tune. Take it all in. Let's breathe in. Open your eyes. Namaste. Okay. All right, let's move it a bit. You can start your playlist if you like. Let's come to a child's pose. So if you were just sitting on your knees or you're feeling a little tight in the legs, take the knees a little wider, let the big toes touch. Then we'll sway this from side to side before we settle in, releasing the shoulders, lengthening the neck and the torso. Maybe we circle it around. And then we'll settle back on those heels. Walk your fingertips forward towards the front edge of your mat and dip your chest down towards the floor. So let there be a lengthening here instead of a collapse. Press up onto your fingertips, stay engaged in the arms and feel the space in the armpits. Maybe start to crawl the fingertips a little farther forward. And then let your chin drop or your forehead drop, whatever's more comfortable for your neck. And with every exhalation, see if you can allow those hips to get a little closer to the heels. Breathe in and let it go. Now press the forearms down to the floor, spread the fingers wide, and let's lift the hips up. Bring the chest forward, bring your knees parallel. And we'll come to cat-cow here on the forearms. So there's a limited range of motion here. Maybe we feel the shoulders a little bit more. And when you come into that cow pose, lift your chin. When you come into that cat, tuck your chin way into your chest. Breath in, get long, open up, find space. Breath out, nice and small. Now hold your cat once you're there. Press into your fingertips and let's straighten the arms. Tuck the toes under and we'll take this all the way up to a downward facing dog. And then we can sway it from side to side. And lift your heels. Let's bend the knees and connect the ribs to the thighs. Tuck your chin into your chest so your head will come all the way through. Start to feel those shoulders. You're pulling away from the arms. Press into the fingertips. Now allow yourself to get long and shift forward into a plank pose. Bring your knees down. Untuck the toes, child's pose. Let's tuck the chin into the chest. We'll take a slow roll. Slide your fingertips back towards your knees. And we'll be sitting on the heels. Sweep the arms back behind you as you breathe in. So the arms are like wings here. And then lift the chin. Just open the throat. We'll wrap that right arm underneath the left and come to an eagle wrap. Continue to lift the fingertips and the elbows up towards the ceiling. And then draw your hand back over your head. So maybe the elbows are in line with the chin. We'll tip it forward, coming back onto the forearms, but keep the bind here. And let's take cat-cow here. Maybe you feel those shoulders a little bit more in the bind. So make it about the pelvis, big tilt. And then find that lift as you release. After your next cat, stay round, sit back down on the heels. We'll release the arms, take them high above the head, and interlace your fingers. Turn the palms up. And then draw the arms back past the ears and bring the palms to the base of the head. And then we can lengthen here. So add a little lift. Think about lengthening the neck. Sit up tall. We're getting a little lighter. In the hips, on the heels, we're not collapsing. And we'll twist over to the right side. Yes. Now let's bring the left elbow down in front of the right knee. Once you're there, we'll lay this back and point your right elbow up towards the ceiling. Lift your chin out of your chest. Lower the right elbow down to meet the left. We'll tuck the chin way into the chest here. So the elbows are coming up off of the floor. So we feel that stretch in the back of the neck. Almost as if the crown of the head is hovering over the floor and your eyebrows are close to your knees. Let's lift this. Wing the arms back on the breath in. Eagle wrap, left arm on the bottom on the breath in. Inhale, find the space to release through the shoulders. If you're feeling a little tight here, take your time. We'll mount this forward, bring the forearms down to the mat. We'll float the hips up and come back into that cat-cow. You might take the breath out, come to cat first, and then find your cow. So now we're really limited in our range of motion here. And listen to the body. It's making any sounds as you move. Tune in to see what feels right. And then we'll sit that back. Let's release the arms, take them high above your head, interlace your fingers, turn the palms up. Draw the arms back past the ears. Just kind of pause here for a moment. See what this feels like in the shoulders. Puff your chest up towards the ceiling, but be aware of that lumbar spine. We're not throwing a big arch there. Try not to pull the sits bones back. We have that length, that alignment. And then flow your hands back behind your head. Find a little bit of length here, guiding your head up towards the ceiling. Maybe you drop your head back a little bit. Take the elbows wide. Feel the shoulder blades draw towards each other. And then we'll twist over to the left side. Yeah, so you make one straight line from elbow to elbow. Lift the chin out of the chest. And then we'll dip it forward. The right elbow will land in front of the left knee. So we'll close it off for a hot second until we get our balance and our placement. And then with a breath, we open it up. Left elbow travels up towards the ceiling. Lift the chin out of the chest. Then we'll lower the left elbow down to meet the right. Tuck your chin into your chest, float up onto your fingertips. Lift your hips just enough to tuck the toes under, and then we'll connect to the heels. So we're setting up for a rabbit pose. Tuck your chin way in and find the cat back here. Think about bringing the eyebrows to the knees, and then the crown of the head will come down to the mat. So we're really small here in a nice little ball. Now lift your hips, but hang on to the heels and start to roll forward a bit. So you feel the back of the neck, but you control how far forward you come by holding on to those heels. We'll start to release. Sit back down. Bring your hands forward. And let's take it to a downward facing dog. So we'll stretch out the hamstrings here. We're in that tight little tuck. Then press up onto your fingertips. We'll lift the chest. We'll lift the head. Find space, the length of the neck and in the throat. Come back down onto your palms and we'll shift forward and we'll come right into a cobra. So we'll swing the hips from side to side as we start to lower the pelvis down to the floor. Take your time here. Untuck the toes. So the pelvis comes down, but the chest stays high. Soften the elbows. So there's really no pressure in those arms to muscle it up. Engage the muscles in the back. And then exhale, float it down. Let's take the arms out to a T. Then turn your left ear down to the mat. Bring your right hand next to your right shoulder. Step your right foot back behind your left, and we'll just roll on to the left side. Now, if you're okay here, bend your left knee, step into your left foot. So both knees are bent. Then we can sway the knees over to the right side and rest your head down to the mat. And we'll reverse our steps, bring the legs back to center, extend them out long. And then we'll roll back to the chest. Take your right hand back behind you and reach your fingertips up towards the back of your neck. So your palm is facing up towards the ceiling. Then we can crawl those fingers up a bit. Reach your right arm forward, press up onto the right fingertips. On the breath in, let's lift the chest as if you're coming into cobra. On the exhale, lower yourself down, connect your right elbow to the mat, and then reach back with your right hand. We'll come to a Gomukhasana bind. Yeah, so now we have the floor to help us. You can drop your right ear down to the floor. Maybe you can connect at the fingers. If not, maybe you feel the fingertips. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Release the arms, both at the same time. Right hand reaches forward, left hand reaches back. And then they meet in the middle at that T shape. Palms are down and your right fingertips are making a straight line from your right shoulder. Bring your left hand next to your left shoulder and we'll start to roll onto the right side. So take your time here, especially if you feel the shoulders if it's a little sensitive. Step your left foot back behind you. And then pause here, see what that feels like. If we're okay, step your right foot down to the floor. And sway your knees over to the left side. You can let your head hang here. There's no tension in that neck. You can find a little bit of movement. Or you can bring your head down to the floor. You can bring your hand underneath your head. If you have a block, you can put your right cheek on it. Just finding a little more space in the shoulder. And then we'll release it. Take your time. It's a pretty deep stretch. So your back forward on your chest, bring your right arm back behind you. And then take your time here. Walk the fingertips up the spine towards the back of your neck. Press into your left fingertips as you reach over your head. On the breath in, let's lift the chest in a little cobra variation. And on the breath out, lower the chest, press down into the left elbow and reach your left hand back behind you. Turn your left ear down to the mat. We'll be in that Gomukhasana bind. Breathe here. And we'll release both arms, reach your left fingertips forward, reach your right fingertips back, bring your chest back to center. Take both hands underneath the shoulders. We'll press it back to a child's pose. Lower your forearms down to the mat, bring your hands together in a prayer, and then let's walk the elbows forward as you reach the thumbs behind your head towards the shoulder blades. Take a full breath in. Open your mouth and make a sound on the exhale that you can hear it. Maybe you sigh it out. Let's open that up. Press into your hands, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Give your head a shake here. Tuck your chin into your chest. Draw the chest back towards the thighs. Lift your heels. Float your right leg up towards the ceiling. Pull your thigh into your chest for a one-legged plank. We'll shift this forward. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh for a figure four, but pull your hips back toward your heels and bend your left knee, as if you're in a chair pose. So you'll feel those hips, those IT bands. Now spin to the inside of your left foot. And we'll take the left hand to the right thigh. So we're in this funky side plank for a hot second. Yeah, stay strong in that right arm. You might feel that left quad a little bit. You might find a little bit of momentum here. Nice. And then we'll lower the right hip down to the floor. Extend your right leg in front of you. Sweep the left arm around that left shin. And we'll take a forward fold. Marichyasana. Flex your right foot. Tuck your chin into your chest and we'll roll this up. Let's slide that right knee back and connect the arch of your right foot to your left knee. Yeah. Let's take a twist over to the left side. Take breath in as you sit up tall. Breath out, we twist. And sweep your right hand back behind you. We'll press up onto the feet, lift the knees, and let's sway them from side to side. Yeah, so we can find some length here through the side body. Start to engage through the glutes. Draw the shoulders back. Maybe you press up onto your fingertips. So your range of motion is as big as you want it to be. Nice. And then the next time the knees fall over to the right side, we'll press into the right hand and float this up to a stargazer. Lower the hips down to the mat. We'll turn towards the front edge of the mat, extend the legs out in front of you. Take breath in as you reach the arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, turn the palms up as you flex your toes. Draw the arms back. Let's connect at the back of the head. Find some length here, lift your chin, take the elbows wide, puff your chest up towards the ceiling. And then using the arms, using those hands, find a little extra lift, some lengthening in the neck, and carry yourself forward. We're not getting round here, we're staying long, and you're guiding the crown of the head towards the top of the feet. Now we can release the forearms down to the floor and drop your head. Now if your hands are next to your feet, hang on to them. If not, keep your hands connected to the floor. And let's rock this from side to side, drawing the sits bones back. So just finding a little more length in the hamstrings. Then slide your hands halfway back. You're about mid-shin. Press up onto the fingertips. Lift your chest, lift your ribs, and then reach in for those ribs and carry them forward. Now refold. Feet are active. Keep your toes flexed back. Now point your toes. Let's tuck the chin into the chest and we'll roll it up. Slide your fingertips back in line with the hips. And we'll float the knees up into the chest. Yeah. Grab the heels. We'll just float a balance here. Draw the shoulders back. Lift the chin off the chest. Now take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Take your time here. Start to straighten the legs. And we'll come into a boat pose. Keep the throat open. Now, if you feel like you're rounding in the shoulders, use the strength of the arms. Lift the chest. Maybe we drop the head back a little bit more. Take your gaze back. And then come back through center. We'll bring the soles of the feet together and land in Baddha Konasana. Nice. Rock this one side to side. Press up onto the fingertips. We'll float the hips up off the floor. And we can find a little sway here. Bring the groins a little closer to the heels and turning the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling a little bit more. Cool. Let me come in for landing. Nice. So if the soles of the feet are here and you're right on the edges of your feet, it's a little more difficult to get those knees down. You need that ultra flexibility in the hip flexors. So if we just open up the feet a little bit and aim the tops of the feet to the mat, so actually the soles of the feet are up towards our face, it's a little easier to bring the knees down towards the floor. Yeah, you can take your hands on your thighs, not your knees. We don't push on the joints. And just give them a little boost, a little help. Nice. Now bring your hands back to your feet. Thumbs can be right in the arches and your fingers are over the top. Take breath in, bring your chest forward. Drop your head back as you breathe in. And on the breath out, we'll tip this forward. So the chest is coming forward and those elbows can come down and hold those legs where they are. You're coming forward, forward, forward. Neck is long. So maybe you feel the heels by your belly buttons. Maybe you feel your chest connect to your feet. And then lastly, you'll just melt the head down. Forehead can come down to the mat. And tuck your chin into your chest. Let's extend that right leg out to the right side. Take your right forearm to the inside of the right thigh. And we'll float the left arm up towards the ceiling, open the chest. So there's length here in that right side body. We're not collapsing, trying to fold over the right leg. We're pushing out of that right forearm. And the more space you create here, the better able we're twisting. We have all that space and all that room and we can breathe. Now wrap your left arm around your back and maybe we can catch the inside of that right thigh. Reach your right hand towards your right toes. We're still very much twisted. So the right shoulder's over the right knee. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Then you can guide the right ribs a little closer to the right thigh. Now let's activate that right leg. See if the right heel can float up off the floor. So you can pull that right toe a little bit. Yeah, try to engage through the muscle first. We get that little extra boost. And then we'll release. Nice and easy. We'll float that chest over the right thigh. And tuck your chin into your chest. Right foot meets left. We're back in Baddha Konasana. Cool. Let's press into the fingertips here. Flex your feet before you do that. So bring your hands to your toes, you connect the balls of the feet. So you have this really nice flex here. So this in itself is a nice little stretch, especially if you're in shoes all day long, or if you're not in shoes at all, you need to exercise the muscles in your feet, okay? Now from here, we'll press into the fingertips and we'll shift the weight forward so that you're actually on the balls of the feet and the toes. So just make sure they don't get crunched up there. And we can shift the groins forward a bit. So maybe you'll be in line with the heels. The knees are super open. Yeah. Now bring one hand in front of you. Bring the other hand in front of you. And then lengthen the spine. Good. Maybe we come to Yana Mudra and we find a balance here. Put the hands on the knees. Nice. Beautiful. You can stay here all night. Fantastic balance. I don't want to push my luck. Let's bring the fingertips down and then bring them behind you and we'll release back into that Baddha Konasana. Grab hold of your left big toe, extend that left leg out to the left side. Feels nice to straighten that leg. Let's lower down on the left forearm. And then use that. When you're in extended side angle, use that left tricep, press it to the inner thigh of the left leg, flex the left toes. Let the right hand up towards the ceiling and spiral the chest, the ribs, that lengthen and reach up. So we can reach up without driving the right shoulder up into the ear. We don't want to bring in any unwanted tension. We're getting rid of it. Maybe we take that right arm over the right ear. Take your right arm back behind you. We'll connect to the inner thigh of the left leg. Yes. Nice. And then take that back down where you were. Lift your chin off the chest. Then we'll reach the left peace fingers for the left big toe. Just be aware of the right knee. Keep it engaged. You don't lose connection to the floor. As you flex the left toes, maybe you draw the left heel up. Nice. Big release. Unravel that right arm. We'll turn the chest towards the left thigh. And let it go. Good. Drop your hand. Let's take this up and pull the left knee, stack it on top of the right. Yeah. Take your hands back behind you. Now keep the feet together and we'll sway the knees from side to side. Lovely. We'll sway towards the front edge of the mat, bring the hands forward, and we'll step back to downward facing dog. Let's pedal out those legs. Bend the knees, drop the hips towards the heels. We'll come back center. Lift your heels high, roll out to a plank pose. Let's lower the knees down, take it to a child's pose. Press up onto your fingertips, drop your head in between the arms. Now look forward, walk your fingertips a little farther forward. We'll keep the chest low to the mat. Draw the elbows in towards your ribs and we'll slide this forward and come into Bhujangasana. Low cobra breath in, press into the tops of the feet. Lift the chin, find the space in the throat without punching the back of the neck. And then exhale, lower back down. Let's take the hands off the mat completely, float up onto your fingertips like spider arms, lift the elbows. Breath in, we lift the chest. Now let's bring the right shoulder forward and the left shoulder back. Turn your gaze over your left shoulder. We have a bit of a twist here. Maybe you see your feet. Yeah, there they are. And then come back through center, keep the chest lifted. Drop your shoulders, lengthen the neck. Now let's twist over to the right side. Right shoulder moves back, left shoulder moves forward. Bring yourself back to the middle. Exhale, melt yourself down. Press your hands into the mat. We'll come back to a child's pose. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. Pull your thigh into your chest for a one-legged plank. Figure 4, cross your left ankle over your right thigh and bend your right knee. Pull your hips back. It's like a down dog meets a figure 4 chair. Hand can drop in between the arms. Now spin the arch of the foot to connect with the mat. Right hand will connect to your left thigh. And then pull your hips back towards your right heel. Lift your chest, you're pressing out of that left hand. And then we'll lower everything down to the floor. Nice. Extend that left leg out in front of you. Reach your right arm forward. And we have Marichyasana on the other side. We'll come to the bind. Take an extra breath in. Lift your chest. Breath out, bring the crown of the head towards the top of the left foot. Melt it on up. Release the bind of the arms. Pull your left knee back. We'll take the legs wide and we'll sway the knees from side to side. I'm going to make it a little bit more intense. We can press up onto the fingertips. Lift the hips. Float back from side to side. So lift up onto the balls of the feet. Yeah. See what that feels like. Maybe one knee comes down to the floor. Nice. And bring the hips back down. When the knees drop over to the left side, we'll take a twist over to the right. Take breath in, sit up tall. Breath out, we twist. Let's release it, press into that left hand and take it up to a stargazer. And we'll float this down. Extend both legs towards the front end of your mat. Inhale the arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, turn the palms up, flex the toes back. Draw the arms back, we'll lift the chest, lift your chin. As you exhale, keep the arms as they are. See if you can reach past the toes so that the backs of the hands will fit nicely into the arches. Soften the elbows, pull the crown of the head forward, and we'll shift into the right and left, drawing the sits bones back. And then let it go, let it float all the way down. Release your hands, catch them behind you in an interlace. Draw the knuckles towards the back edge of your mat, so feel the shoulders move down. Feel the neck get a little longer, and then lengthen your neck so the crown of the head is in line with the tops of the feet. Let's dip the right ear down towards the right shoulder, and then guide both hands over to the right side. And then we'll come back through center. Let's drop everything down. Hands melt to the floor. Drop your head down to your shin. Interlace your fingers. Draw the shoulders back, draw the knuckles back. We float the chest 2 inches off the thighs. Nice long neck here. Keep your left ear towards your left shoulder. And just pause here. See what that feels like. And gently guide that right hand over with that left hand pulling it over. Keep your chest over the thighs. We'll come back through center, lower everything more. Release the hands, drop your head. Tuck your chin into your chest. Let's float up onto the fingertips. And then press down in the palms. So your fingertips are facing your hips. Point your toes. We'll push this up to a reverse plank. So the legs will be straight, the toes and the heels connect to the mat, pull up in the arches, drop the head back, open that throat. And then lower the hips back down. Let's pull the knees into the chest, flex your feet, and grab the outer edges of them. Yes, we'll stay here with the balance. Walk the ribs up the thighs. And then we'll float this back up into Navasana. Close your eyes. Yeah, so you have those feet, you have the balance, and just listen to the sounds around you. Listen for your breath. And keep your eyes closed. We'll bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Press up onto your feet using your fingertips. So we're in a really low squat here. And then stay connected through the fingertips. We'll straighten the legs for a forward fold. And you can open your eyes if you like or keep them closed. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider than your hips, and let's sway the hips from side to side. Flex your right foot up. We'll take Padahastasana. Bring your right hand underneath, and your toes are along your wrist. Then we'll do the same thing with the left. So trust yourself here. You are literally standing on your hands. Take breath in. Shift your weight a little farther forward into the balls of the feet, but pull the hips back and up so you feel long in the hamstrings and the backs of the legs. Lift the chin out of the chest. Lift the chest up a little higher. And then as we exhale, let's come forward and soften the arms. Dive the crown of the head down towards the floor. And find a little shake of the head here. Get rid of any tension. We're not forcing the fold. The neck is long. And you can take a little rock here. Just shifting the weight slightly into the balls of the feet and heels, feeling the pressure in the hands. Stretching out those hands, those fingers, those wrists. Now flex your right foot up, slide your hand forward just a bit. So now the toes are right in your palm. And then do the same thing with the left hand. So now we can give ourselves a little massage in the hands by crunching the toes and shifting the weight from side to side. Maybe walk the hands a little farther forward. And you connect the toes to the fingers. And then shift the weight from right side, left side. So if you're on the computer a lot, you text a lot, you have carpal tunnel, give yourself a little hand massage using the feet and the body weight. And then release the hands, bring the palms down to the floor, fingertips are pointing towards the front edge of your mat. Take breath in as you come up halfway. Breath out, we'll step back to plank. Take breath in, shift your weight forward. Breath out, lower everything down to the mat. Bhujangasana, breath in, look over. And exhale, lower down. Curl the right hamstring and reach back for that right foot. We'll draw the heel in towards your hip for a little quad stretch. And then we'll do the same thing with the left. You can drop your forehead down. Maybe you walk your hands up to the toes. You got your whole foot back. Nice. So you have a pointed foot. You can take your thumbs and your arches and give yourself a little foot massage here. So we already massaged the hands, and I did the same thing for your feet. Drawing your thumbs in the arches, maybe walk your way towards your heel. Take your fingers on the tops of the feet. And then walk down toward your ankles. Flex your feet. Keep your thighs in touch with the floor, and let's draw the shoulders back, shoulder blades towards each other as we peel the chest up off the mat. And then lift your gaze without crunching the neck. Start to open up the hamstrings, draw the toes back towards the back edge of your mat. So you have this heart opener here. Now if you want to float the thighs up off the floor, let's come into Dhanurasana. Keep pressing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling as you draw the shoulders back. And then point your toes, lift. Now flex your feet and lift. Point your toes, lift. And then lower everything down to the mat. Bring your arms to a cactus. Release your shoulders, drop your left ear down to the floor, and let's roll the feet from side to side. And then turn your right cheek down to the floor. So we're just changing the side of the head. You can continue to sway those feet from side to side. And like you're swimming, kick the feet, bring the heels towards your butt, and then let the top of your foot hover over the floor. Nice. And then hold it with the knees bent. Let's roll the ankles here. Bring your head center, press both hands underneath the shoulders, and bring your left knee to your left wrist. So you're in this half frog with the left leg. It's a pigeon variation. We'll press into the hands and lift the chest. So we're opening those hips. Maybe we walk the hands back a little bit. Lift the chest. Stay engaged through the right leg. Nice. Can we curl the right hamstring? Why not? Now press into your left hand. We'll reach back with that right hand to the inside of the foot. And then guide that heel in towards your butt. Your hand can come to the top of the foot. We'll find the rotation through the shoulder. Release the twist so your chest is facing forward. And your right elbow is pointing up towards the ceiling. Nice. And take your time with the release. Hold on to the shin so the foot doesn't slam to the floor. And then we'll lower everything down. Extend the left leg to meet the right. Take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers, drop your forehead down, and draw the knuckles towards your heels. And we'll come to the other side, press into your hands, pull your right knee towards your right wrist. Slide the hands back a bit so you can float the chest up. And take your time. Notice if you popped up off the floor, if you can find that release. Adjust the left leg, maybe go a little wider, and then press into your right hand. Curl the left hamstring and reach back with your left. And then any amount. If you're here, that's fantastic. Maybe you shifted forward. Roll through the shoulder, turn your chest forward. And then release it. Both hands come down. Lower the chest, bring your right foot back to meet your left. Let's take it back to a child's pose. Push up onto the hands and knees. We'll bring the right shin forward for pigeon. I know Ella loves her pigeon, so here we are. And then see how this feels, especially since we just took that variation with the knee on the other side. Find your breath as you lift the chest. Breath out, fold it forward. Now, if you want to take any variation here, maybe we bring that right hand forward and thread the left arm underneath. Then you can drop down on the left side of your head. Take your right hand to your right thigh. And if you're in that twist, you can take the left fingertips towards your right collarbone. In between the collarbone and the shoulder, just help to lengthen yourself. If you're laying it back, you're not twisting by using your left hand, you're lengthening. And then the twist will happen on its own. You can take your right hand underneath your right ear and support your head. And press into the hands, we'll lift the chest. Tuck your back toes under and straighten the legs. So the left knee will float up off the floor. So engage through that left quad, that left glute. You are here. Now we'll float that left leg around for fire log pose, your double pigeon. The left ankle comes on top of the right knee, left knee on top of the right ankle. So allow yourself to adjust the sits bones here and stay active in a flexed foot. Because once we relax those feet, we can come inside and lose the integrity of the pose, of that alignment. And bring your fingertips forward. Take breath in as you draw the sits bones back and the chest forward. So this might be good right here. Hang out here. If you want to walk the fingertips forward, you will. And then maybe the forearms come down to the floor. Then we can just drop that head and let it hang. You get round in the spine, keep your chin tucked into your chest, straighten the arms. Walk the fingertips back. Press into your right hand and scoop the left hand underneath the left knee. You can lift it up and then slide the ankles to stack. Yeah. Swing the legs out in front of you. Take breath in, just to lengthen breath out, forward fold into Pashi. We'll keep this moving. Tuck your chin into your chest. And we can come to pigeon on the other side. So if you're comfortable, just swing the right leg back. If you want to take it from a down dog and use that momentum to bring the shin forward, you will. Or from hands and knees, you will. Lift up onto the fingertips, take the breath in. Right hip shifts forward, left hip shifts back. You don't want to sink in that left butt cheek. You want to stay active in that left leg. Press through the top of the right foot and scissor the inner thighs together. Now we can be long as we fold forward. And if you're taking a variation, the left hand reaches forward, the right arm will thread underneath. And the right ear comes down. Left hand comes to the left thigh. Lay it back. Right hand can guide that left shoulder, open the chest a bit, lay it back. Chin off the chest, and maybe you take your right hand to the right side of your head. Let's release the twist if we have it. Walk the hands back, lift the chest. Tuck your right toes under, float the right knee up off the mat. Pressing back with that right heel, lift the chest. You can float that right leg around to step on top of the left. Give yourself a moment to set it up. Move the sits bones, flex the feet. See what it feels like here. Any prop that you want to use, if you want to raise that bottom knee, that left knee, you can take a pillow under there. Yeah, so we just don't want this really funky angle where we're forcing the knees into a shape that doesn't feel right. Take your fingertips back behind you on this side. Draw the shoulders back, lift the chest. Get a little light in the sits bones. You can shift them back a little bit as you bring the chest forward. Flex your feet. Walk your hands a little closer to your hips. Bring the chest over the calves. Now reach the arms forward. Pull the sits bones back, so it's like a tug of war between your fingertips and your butt. Then we come down onto the forearms in more of a sphinx shape. Take an extra breath, lift the chest. And let the head go. Walk the fingertips forward and soften the arms. A little sway in the head, shift it from side to side. As you walk your hands back, lift the chest. Let's lean into that left hand, scoop up that right knee. We'll stack the ankles right on top of the left. Come back through center, extend the legs out as wide as the mat. Flex your feet, lift the sits bones, pull them back. We'll bring the forearms down in between the calves, hands in prayer, and then slide the prayer forward. Lower your chest. Maybe your head comes down to the floor, maybe it just hangs. Stay round in the spine, chin to chest, start to roll it back. Reach for the knees, pull them back towards your shoulders. Grab the outer edges of the feet. And we'll straighten the legs, guide the toes over your head. So now you have options here. You can come to a reclined posture, where you're just in that deep fold. Bring the shins towards your face. The back will float up off the mat a little bit. Maybe you find a little bit of a rock here, and the toes will eventually touch the floor behind your head. And if you want to take it into Halasana, press down into your triceps. Press into the balls of the feet and get your shoulders underneath you. So you can take your thumbs right to your hip creases and help lift those thighs a little bit as you get your shoulders underneath you. And interlace your fingers. Extend your knuckles down towards the mat. Use the strength of the arms to help lift the hips.
Now we're really closing off that throat chakra. So don't turn your head in either direction in this shape. You want to stay neutral. Now if you want to go from plow into shoulder stand, we'll find the assist. Bring your hands to that low back. Lift one leg. Lift the other and then climb the hands up the back. Your fingertips are pointing up towards the ceiling. Bring the legs forward so you have one line from your toes to your hip. Any shape you want to make with the legs here. And get a little softer here, open the hips. Come to a split or a stand. Maybe you touch one foot behind you. See what happens. And then separate the knees. Bring your shins down to the floor, framing your ears. So let the toes touch. Maybe we can wrap those arms around the hamstrings or the calves. Release your mind if you have it. Extend the arms above the head. And slowly we'll bring the vertebra down to the floor. Take your time here. Big unravel. Point the toes up towards the ceiling. And let's press the elbows and the forearms down into the mat. We'll lift the chest here and set up for fish pose. So the heels can come down to the floor. Walk the elbows back. You can press the forearms and the hands down. Draw the shoulders back, puff the chest up. Draw up your head. So this is a variation of Matsyasana. You want to come to a deeper expression of the pose. Walk the sits bones up a bit so we can find a little bit more of a back bend and puff the chest up. And then maybe the crown of the head comes down to the floor. So just as you did in that rabbit pose, it's not the forehead. It's right at the top. And float your hands up to a prayer. Fingertips can reach up towards the ceiling. Maybe you float your toes up as well. Allow yourself to release one step at a time. Take your time, especially if you're on the crown of the head. And we'll lower everything back down to the mat. Separate your feet, reach for the corners. Take the arms above your head. Just a little cactus shape here to release the shoulders. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Shavasana.
Listen for your breath as you breathe a little more deeply. Listen to the sounds that are around you. And you can still stay centered, feeling peaceful by noticing what you hear. Allowing yourself to be fully open, take in the sound without reacting. Bring some movement back into your body. Extend the arms above the head, lengthen the legs. Fill all the way. Huge inhale. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Listen for the sound of that breath. Bring your feet to the floor and roll on to whichever side you prefer. And press yourself up to sit. Connect your hands together in a prayer at your heart. Bow your head with gratitude and in honor of everything that we hear, especially tonight in the rain. Just as that rain washes everything away, we try to wash away any preconceived notion, any anticipated answer, any assumption to what someone else might offer, what they have to say, what their message is. And then opening up that chakra, that Vishuda, we find our voice to express ourselves. Yet we're open enough to hear what's actually being said, and not what we want to hear. Take a full breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Let's breathe in for Om. Namaste.